read you a story about the Messy Magpie. Now I wonder what this story might be about. Let's have a look at the cover. We have here on the front cover a bird, and this bird, if you haven't have guessed from the title, is the type of bird called a magpie. It also tells us that the book, or the magpie in the book, might be quite messy. Now, what on the picture do we think could show us that the magpie likes messy things? We've got lots of different things here. If you have a look, he's holding on to a bottle cap, and we have some keys and a watch and some other pieces of that look like rubbish, really, that have been left around. So let's find out what we can read about in the story and find out a little bit more about this magpie and find out just why he is called the Messy Magpie and what could be making him so messy. Now, I've actually got a special version of this book. I could open it up and read it to you like this, but then you wouldn't be able to see the pictures and the words very well at all. So I have actually got a special version of this book on my computer. So here we are, the story of the Messy Magpie. It's often been noted as years have gone by that magpies collect all the things that they spy. They love all things colourful, shiny and bold, no matter how tiny, no matter how old. Morris the Magpie is the same, it would seem, as he loves to pick up any objects that gleam. He takes them all home to his nest in a tree to make it look special for others to see. Now, one day, young Morris was struck by surprise when a gift was thrown down right in front of his eyes. As it flew from the car, Morris said, "Could it be that this human has given a present to me?" He swooped down to pick up the beautiful gift, which was hard to maneuver and heavy to lift. He carried it home, though it took him all day. Then he cleaned up his present to put on display. He wanted to decorate all that he could, so the next day he went to the edge of the wood. He flew to the place where the gift had been dropped, where he saw that a family of humans had stopped. He hopped down to search for his gift on the floor, but he noticed that this time they'd left many more. Shimmering treasures amongst all the green, these gifts were the finest that Morris had seen. Each day he returned, and he couldn't believe all the wonderful gifts that were there to retrieve. His tree was soon bursting with no space for more, so he started to spread them all out on the floor. The more of these gifts that his human friends threw, the more his collection expanded and grew. Oh dear, what's happening to all of the world that's around him? Then one day, as Morris was sat in his tree, admiring the beauty of all he could see, he noticed that things were now changing below, and that the plants were all dying and struggling to grow. The grass was not green like it had been before. The flowers were wilting, not bright anymore. His animal friends watched in fear and distress as their homes and their food were soon lost to the mess. He turned to the stream, which no longer looked blue, but instead had horrible muddy-like hue, and the water was flowing more slowly that day, as the big piles of rubbish were blocking its way. Oh no, Morris cried as he gasped with alarm. I never intended to cause all this harm. The forest is damaged, the humans weren't kind. All these gifts were just rubbish that got left behind. The pride Morris felt for his lovely display was soon turning to sadness, regret, and dismay. He adored the collection he'd lovingly built, but his joy had now turned to a feeling of guilt. He vowed to himself he would put it all right, so he leapt off his branch and then quickly took flight. He soared high and low, looking for a clue that would show him the safest and best thing to do. He noticed a truck driving past on the road, which was filled with a very familiar load. He'd followed the truck to see where it would go, feeling hopeful he'd find what he needed to know. Morris arrived at a bustling place, which had giant containers and masses of space. Each bin had a sign marking what it was for, and the rubbish piled up, with each car adding more. But where does it go? Whispered Morris, confused. To his shock, a voice said, It gets crushed and reused. A seagull appeared and then said with a sigh, It's amazing what humans can do when they try. That's it, Morris said, and he knew what to do. If I bring it all here, they can make something new. I might need some help, but I must make amends. So he called on a couple of very good friends. They fetched and they carried for most of the night, and they worked as a team till they put it all right. When the rubbish was gone, Morris looked all around, at the stream and the flowers, the trees and the ground. He desperately hoped that he'd made enough room for the beauty of nature to once again bloom. He planted and watered and nurtured away till the forest was thriving and growing each day. Then Morris knew nothing would make his heart sing like the colourful beauty that nature could bring. He no longer needed the shiniest nest, and he realised that having a green home was best. There you go. So that's the end of our story. Now, there is a quiz. If you follow the link, you can take part in the quiz to find out a little bit more and test your knowledge on that story to see if you can remember special parts in it. Now, Morris had realised by the end of the story that rubbish wasn't a gift from humans at all. It was actually not a very kind thing to do at all. And so he decided to make the right choice and take all of those things that the humans had left behind to the recycling centre. But he shouldn't have to do that, and none of the animals should. And in real life, animals can't take things to the recycling centre for us. So it's really important that we do it ourselves and we make the right choices. And we do things like put our rubbish in the rubbish bins and our recycling in the recycling bins, so that the world around us can stay beautiful and green and continue to be looked after every day, because that's our job and it's really important that we do that. So have a go at the quiz. I hope you have fun doing it, and I will be showing you some more recycling adventures soon. So see you all later. Bye.